Hey guys, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing okay. I'm going to give you a very thorough overview of this article. I'll probably skim through and read out some selected paragraphs, etc. But it's quite a long article. There is a link in the description if you'd like to go through that more thoroughly. So I'll just start off with an overview, and I'll probably do a pretty thorough job of that in the first instance. I do need to give you a trigger warning. This involves an incredibly, insanely, demonically brutal killing. Brutal, absolutely horrific. There's going to be a description, quite a lot of description in regards to the whole event, describing what was done to the victim. And the victim is called Ashley Walsh, 34 years of age. He was killed January the 7th of this year following an argument. We're going to go through those details in a moment, but I am telling you now, this is horrific. Quentin Tarantino could make a movie depicting this incident. It is disgusting. If you do appreciate the coverage of this topic, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. But we'll get started with an overview. Excuse me. So this is in regards to a tragic incident which happened this year, January the 7th. The victim here is Ashley Walsh, 34 years of age, and he was killed by two of his friends. So let's show you his two friends that killed him. Aaron Evett is one, 34 years of age. I'll tell you what he did in just a moment. And here's the other. His name is Jared McGlacken. He's 45 years of age. Now, this guy and this guy are cousins, okay? And that does play a factor. One tried to protect the other, or so they say. But these two guys were cousins, and they were both friends with the victim, Ashley Walsh. On January the 7th of this year, the three of them were out for the evening. Don't really know where. I think it was at one of their homes. It's not really described that well. But they were out, and they were having fun. They were drinking, they were taking drugs, and they were having a good old time. Some buddies fucking around for the evening. Sounds good to me. They were having a good time. We know this. They were taking photos of each other, having a good time. Now, at some point during the course of the evening, an argument broke out between the victim, Ashley Walsh, 34 years of age, who, by the way, is a father of one. We're not told the age of the child, but he is a father. He was a father. So an argument broke out between the victim, Ashley Walsh, 34 years of age, and this guy, Aaron Evett, also 34 years of age. Again, they're friends, having a good old time together. Now, the argument ensued seemingly because the victim, Ashley Walsh, said that he was having an affair, he was having a sexual relationship with this guy's ex-girlfriend. Going to reiterate that, ex-girlfriend. The victim let his friend know that he was having a sexual relationship, an affair, with his ex-girlfriend. Not current girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. Okay? Completely consensual, but that's what the argument was about. Now, seemingly, if I understand correctly, a scuffle, a fist fight broke out. Aaron Evett attacking the victim in a fist fight or a struggle of sorts. And Aaron didn't want to fight. He said, "Let me go, just let me go." Perhaps he sensed things were taking a nasty turn. Perhaps he was in a chokehold or such. We're not really told that part. But certainly he didn't want to continue fighting. He didn't start the fight. He didn't want to fight. He wanted the fight to end. So he said, "Let me go, just let me go." Yeah? In a, I would say, a submissive act. But Aaron Evett didn't let things go. Aaron Evett struck Ashley Walsh over the head with a claw hammer multiple times, time and time again, as hard as he could. Let's not forget, this guy is also there. Now, seemingly, he's not partaking for the time being. He's standing watching, perhaps, something along those lines. He's standing watching, perhaps he's not quite there in the exact moment that this psychopath, Aaron Everett, strikes the victim, Ashley Walsh, over the head multiple times with a claw hammer. But that's not the end of it. Aaron Everett then proceeds to stab the victim, Ashley Walsh, multiple times in the chest as well as other areas. The cousin, Jared McLachen, 45 years of age, then somehow all of a sudden he's not happy with Aaron Everett, and he says, what the fuck have you done? You've just fucking killed him. This guy checked the pulse of the victim, couldn't find a pulse. You've just fucking killed him, you dickhead. What did you do that for? So then what happened? Well, then this guy decided to dismember the victim, to decapitate the victim, using a samurai sword that he used as an ornament. He had an ornament on his dining room wall, something along those lines. He used that samurai sword to dismember, to cut up the victim's body. He also used an electric saw and some other kitchen knives as well. Now they dismembered, or rather this guy dismembered the body. They put parts of the body into plastic bags and then subsequently the body into 4 suitcases, and then they dumped those suitcases in a park under a pile of leaves. Now, the police didn't find the chopped up, dismembered, decapitated body of the victim. The police didn't find those 4 suitcases hidden in a park until they were shown it. So after 10 days, seemingly the police had Aaron Everett as the prime suspect, and were seemingly the authorities were putting pressure on Aaron Everett, and after 10 days, Aaron Everett confessed. And what did he say? So let me just show you what Aaron Everett said. Okay, so Aaron Everett, the murderer, said, "It's gone on too long. You're going to need a van. I need to show you where he is." So I find that interesting. So my understanding of that is that the police knew that Adam Everett was the prime suspect. He was the prime suspect. They were seemingly putting pressure on him, perhaps interviewing him multiple times, indicating to him that he was the prime suspect, that they believe that they would find the body, and when they do, that he's going to be in a whole stack of trouble. And seemingly Aaron Everett broke at the 10-day mark. He didn't want to be in that position. The pressure that the police, the authorities, the investigators applied worked. I mean, that's my take on it. He cracked, essentially, and that's a very good thing. So he said, "It's gone on too long. You're going to need a van. I need to show you where he is." And this scumbag proceeded to take the police, and they did recover the body. I'm now going to read through a certain section which is going to describe some of the brutality that these 2 scumbags enacted upon the victim, Ashley Walsh. He had been dismembered through the neck, central torso, both upper arms close to the shoulders, both upper thighs, his left lower leg using a sword that McLachen kept as an ornament on his wall, plus kitchen knives and an electronic saw. Ashley Walsh had also suffered multiple fractures to his face, as well as 20 stab wounds, many of which were from when he was still alive, and that 6 of those stab wounds were in the chest area, and they were potentially fatal. So they don't know which stab wound in particular was the fatal one, but seemingly there were multiple. 20 stab wounds, 6 within the chest area, 6 of which could have been fatal. The article tells us that both of these two murderous scum had previous offences, around 55 between them, for crimes including weapons and violence. They had a very long criminal history, the pair of them. So the good news is that they have been convicted and sentenced. They've been convicted of murder of the victim, Ashley Walsh, and they have both faced life sentences. They've both been given life sentences with the option of parole at no less than 28 years. So I'm just going to comment on that briefly. They don't have the death penalty in England, so frankly, life in prison is the best that could possibly be hoped for, and I'm very glad that both murderers have been given that maximum penalty. In regards to parole, they have the opportunity to be eligible for parole and subsequently potentially be released at no less than 28 years. And I'm also happy with that. 28 years is a long period of time. These two scumbags, one is 34 years of age, the other 45 years of age currently. They won't get out before, they're elderly. Their adult life is largely gone at that point, should they be granted parole, which isn't, of course, necessarily the case. So I'm happy with that. A lot of other cases in England, people are sentenced to life in prison, but they get much lesser sentences, or they have eligibility for parole at a much lesser term. One case in point, Carol Hodgson just been found guilty of murdering her 2-year-old son, Daniel Hodgson Green, and she's been sentenced to life in prison in England, but she has the eligibility for parole after 18 years. And that could be worse. Other cases, there's been life sentence, but with the eligibility of parole after 8 years. That's a big problem with the UK sentencing, as far as I can tell. They do give life sentences, which is a good thing in my mind, but they water things down too much by having the eligibility for parole at too light a period of time. But 28 years, I'm personally happy with that, and in a way, I really do hope that does bring some level of comfort to the family of the victim, Ashley Walsh. So I'm going to wrap things up here at this point, guys. So it is an absolutely tragic case. As I say, it's horrifically brutal. The murderer used a claw hammer, then seemingly after the murderer felt that Ashley had died, the murderer stabbed him multiple times in the chest. He was stabbed 20 times in total. And then the murderer's cousin gets involved and, as we saw, dismembers, decapitates, chops off really every limb, stuffs Ashley's body in black plastic trash bags, stuffs those bags into suitcases, dumps them in a park. It's a godsend that the authorities, that the police, that the investigators put the pressure on the murderer, Aaron Evatt, to the extent that they did. It's a godsend that he cracked. I dare say that the body would have been discovered, dumped in a park, under some leaves. I mean, I'm surprised it wasn't discovered beforehand, but, inevitably it would have been discovered. But him cracking, I would say, is incredibly important and allowed for the trial to go ahead and with a very strong prosecution argument, and which would have led to the conviction of both of these murderous scumbags. So I'm going to wrap things up at this point, guys. If I've done a half decent job, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. Going to carry on making a few more videos this evening, and I'm getting in a pretty good swing of keeping this up and making multiple videos every single day in regards to breaking news, true crimes. This isn't my focus. I do other things. I would love to be able to do this full time, but it's not what I'm able to do. So I might waver from doing the videos every now and then, but I am trying to maintain that consistency as much as possible, and your support really helps me do that. So thanks very much.